Recently, I had an interview with our next storyteller and his wife, Robert and Buffy. So you can hear their love story. I actually released it 3 days ago. So Robert has been married to Buffy for 29 years. And like I said, I've featured them on New Love Low Stories, so you can look for their long story to get more information about that. But they have a 16-year-old son, Sydney, who is a perfect blend of the two of them. Robert loves traveling and exploring new places, both near and far, with his family and friends. And I think there are a lot of his friends here tonight. So a fun fact about him, he loves riding and training horses. So just like Buffy said when I was interviewing them, he made a horse walk, trot, sidestep, and spin around in a circle. This is a horse he had never, I guess you guys had rented it, right? So first time riding this horse and he made it do that. So that's fascinating to me. So a little bragging about Robert. He's an attorney. He was on the cover of the Arizona Attorney magazine and as well featured on Fox 10 News or Sports. They were featuring him as an attorney by day and a rodeo enthusiast by night. So ladies and gentlemen, help me welcome to the stage our last storyteller of the evening, Robert.
I was sitting around a kitchen table in a small kitchen in a house in Compton, California. And I was needling popcorn with my aunt, who I hadn't seen in a long time. And it was quiet. The evening was really smooth. It was intimate. And in walks this young lady, and she was confident, and she was loud, and she was saying, "Where are the girls? I'm here, and I'm ready to party." And she walked through the front door. No one opened the door for her. And as she's walking towards the kitchen, I'm asking my aunt, "Who is this chick?" And she walks right up on me. And she says, "Who are you?" And I looked at her and I said, "Who are you?" "This is my aunt's house." By this time, my cousins come from the back rooms. They're dressed and they leave. They head off to party. As they are walking towards the door, I hear something that kind of came from within. And I said aloud, not knowing that I had said it, "There goes my wife." And everybody in the house laughed at me. I was from Oklahoma, I was a rodeo kid, and I was in California for a few days. The next day, I show up at my cousin's wedding. That's why we were needling popcorn, because we were doing decorations for the wedding. And I show up at this wedding, and I see her drive up in this convertible SL500 Mercedes. And she drove up and parked on the curb because it was an outdoor wedding. And I'm going, "Who is this chick?" She doesn't say anything to me. I don't say much to her. And then I stand up halfway through the ceremony because they say, "We're now going to have a solo by our cousin, Robert Wu." And I walk up to the mic and I sing this song. "Amazing Grace." And I continue to sing this song. And I can see her checking me out. So I sing a little bit longer. And I sung the second verse. When the wedding is over, my cousins, my brother, my entire family, they say, we're all going out to the mall and to hang out, but no one invited me. And because I'm just visiting for a few days, I look at my mom and I say, I'm going home with you. So I'm sitting at home again in this very quiet place with my mother, with all of my relatives on the road hanging out with this chick that I didn't know. And the phone rings. And she's on the other end. She says to my mom something, and my mom hands the phone to me. And I say, well, where are you guys? And are my cousins there? And she says, well, you can get here by coming down this. I'm from Oklahoma, so I didn't know how to get around in California. So my mother gave me directions. I show up. They are shopping and they're having a good time at the mall, and we pass every now and then. We end up leaving the mall and we go to a Bob's Big Boy. Anybody ever been to a Bob's Big Boy? And we're in this huge booth, all of us. And somehow during the day, right before then, I think she must have asked me how old I was. She said, I'm 21. Maybe I said I was 22. Kind of got the story confused. And my cousins start talking about our respective ages. And so my cousins say, well, we're all 22, but he's 21. And she says out loud, I thought you said you were 22. And then I said, who is this chick? Questioning me as to how old I am. I am as old as I am. So needless to say, it started out just a little bit rockier than I had originally anticipated. So we got through that particular time together, and I go back to my mother's house, and I'm asking some people, who is this chick? And my cousins are saying, oh, she's completely out of your class range. You're from Oklahoma. You raise horses and cows. You walk around in Wranglers and Spurs. Her parents are doctors. They have a house on the water, and that just can't work. Matter of fact, she's been in a relationship for 7 years. And I proceeded to respond, who asked you for the commentary? I just simply said, who is the chick? A few days later, somehow we end up having a conversation, and she says, would you like to come to San Diego? And I said, sure. So I go to my mom and I said, I'd like to take the Benz to San Diego. She said, where? I said, to San Diego. She said, do you even know how to get to San Diego? I said, draw me a map. I have to go to San Diego. So I go to San Diego. And because I'm from Oklahoma, I did what Oklahoma guys do. I stopped off at the grocery store, and I got a rose. It's a long rose, just like that rose. And I showed up at her front door, and I knocked on the door, and her dad answered the door, and I said, hello, sir. How are you? Name's Robert Wooten. He just looked at me. And I said, is Buffy here? And he goes, Buff, some kid's at the door. She shows up, and I hand her the rose, and she seemed very unimpressed with my presentation. And her dad doesn't say very much to me. Her brother was rude. And they had this beautiful home, but everybody in the house was a little rude and standoffish. Nobody said, would you like something to eat? Would you like to sit down? That's what we do in Oklahoma. Would you like something to eat? So we end up going on this date. And she says, I would like to take you out. And the first place I would like to take you is to get sushi. You've had sushi before, haven't you? And I'm from Oklahoma. And I said, sure. We eat sushi all the time in Oklahoma. So we go to this sushi restaurant, and out comes this lady who is presenting things with sticks. And I'm watching the people eat with these sticks, and I'm saying, there must be a skill to that. Because I've never really used sticks to eat before. So I said, excuse me, I need to see if you go to the restroom, if that's okay. I go to the restroom, I go to the kitchen, I say, hey, come here. What is that I'm eating? And where are the forks? The guy said, you're in a sushi restaurant, and that's raw fish. And I'm in the back going, why don't you guys cook it? Do you have any beef to put in? So I go back and I sit down, and she's feeling me out. She can tell that I'm a little bit out of my environment, but I make it through the sushi time of presentation in the evening. And later on she says, I would like to take you to a movie. And I said, sure, I can do a movie. So we go to a movie. Anybody remember John Candy? It was a John Candy movie. This is back in 1988. And I'm thinking, the movie was about 2.5 hours. I need to get this young lady home so that her dad understands that I'm very respectful. I'm from Oklahoma and I brought the rose. And she says, I'd like to take you to the beach, to a beach party. A beautiful bonfire. I'm going tonight. She said, yes. We go to the beach, and there are all of these California people running around, half naked, smoking, getting high. And I'm thinking, Sunday is tomorrow. 2 days from now. Excuse me, you look underage, young man. And I hang out, and it's great. And all these people are just in the groove, and long, blonde hair with blue eyes, guys, the kind I had seen on the TV, And I thought, I should take my shirt off. Flex a little bit, get with it, And my cousin shows up, and I'm going, hey, you're at the beach party. I'm feeling right at home. But I keep looking at my watch because I'm thinking it's almost 11 o'clock, and I need to get her home. And as the story goes, I think we're getting ready to wrap up and go home, and she says, let's go to Mexico. I'm from Oklahoma. Truth be told, I thought she was talking about New Mexico. Because who goes to Mexico at midnight on a date with somebody you've never met before? Mexico, like the country? And she says, are you nervous? And I said, I'm from Oklahoma. But I'm looking at my cousin and I'm saying, you guys gotta be kidding me, right? Like, shouldn't we call the embassy? Or aren't you supposed to tell somebody if you go to Mexico? Don't they have cartels, and isn't that where El Chapo's from? And I'm kind of tripping, we can't go to Mexico. And they're all getting in the cars and we're heading to Mexico. And I get to Mexico and everybody down there is drinking because you can go to Mexico and drink and be underage. But I know Sunday's 2 days. So I can't drink anything, and I'm hanging out and I'm a little uncomfortable and I'm thinking, it's 1 o'clock in the morning. I gotta get this young lady home. And everything is going really good until this lady starts screaming and yelling, and she freaks out and she takes off her shoe and she throws it across the bar, and it hits me in the back of the neck. I walk up to my date and I said, listen, this has been a great evening. I think it's time to head back to the United States of America. And they see that I'm nervous, and so they say, I think we need to go because he's really starting to have a problem with being in Mexico. And so as we're getting back to the border, I'm thinking, oh my God, I don't even have my passport. What do we do? So I get up to the gate and I'm waiting for the guy to ask me, and I just blurt out, United States of America. Please let me back home. And they're laughing because they just walked across the border. And I made this big public pronouncement, United States of America. We get back into the United States, I get my composure, and I'm thinking, I have to get her home. It's 2 o'clock in the morning, and she says, would you like to go to Sunset Cliffs? And I said, tonight? This morning? Sure. Why not? I've already been to Mexico. I've already eaten some raw fish. I probably have some intestinal disease, so let's what out. Let's go to Sunset Cliffs. So we're on. Anybody ever been to Sunset Cliffs? Oh my God. If you've never been to San Diego to Sunset Cliffs, you have to go because you park your car on this highway and then you walk across the street and you're sitting on these cliffs as the ocean waves come in and they crash up against these rocks, and there's all of these little couples seated in these little pockets. And I'm having a great time with her until I notice that the sun is starting to come up. And I go, oh my God, I'm sorry, we're having a great time, but we gotta go call your dad. Because I'm the guy that came to get you with the rose, and I introduced myself. And I don't want him standing there when I take you home. And she says, is that really bothering you? And I said, yeah, it is. And she gets up and she walks over to the car. We were in his car. This is in 1988. And she dials his number. And he answers the phone. I'm standing outside of the car like, this chick just called her dad from the car. That was back when those cell phones were like the size, like the size of a book. She's calling him from the car. And he says, Puke, what do you want? How are you? She said, I just want you to know I'm doing fine. Everything's good. He says, well, enjoy yourself. And they hang up. And I'm like, wow. Look at this wayward chick who has no rules, no boundaries, and no morals or ethics. But she's beautiful, and I'm having a great time. So I take her home, and she says, I had a great date, and I'm thinking, you mean a couple of days? And I drop her off, and I say, I would really like to see you again. And so when I walked back out to my car, the sun was like shining, and I'm thinking, the only people that live in San Diego is my mom's sister. And we were all raised from the same Bible Belt in Oklahoma, so I think I should go to her house, but I don't know how to tell her that I went on a date with a girl yesterday. So I did. Went to her house, I knocked on the front door, and they all came to the door, and I was like, good morning. I just need a place to sleep for a couple hours. So I go to sleep, wake up the next day. Eventually, I go back to Oklahoma. We stay in touch. And over the years, as I'm back at the University of Oklahoma, she's moved to Florida to work on her PhD. And I realized that something happened that night that marked my life forever. And as our story began to grow, we stayed in touch. She would fly to Oklahoma to see these people that are going to work with a chuck wagon behind the horses because she had never been to Oklahoma before. She came to Oklahoma and realized, Kevin, that we had cars and we lived in homes and we had houses. And over the years, I would go to Florida to meet her back and forth. And we got married March the 23rd, 1991. And the ironic thing is, all of those cousins who laughed at me when I said, there goes my wife, every last one of them are divorced or sick and or dying and going to hell. Buffy and I have been married for 29 years. We've been together for 32. I was 21 years old when I met her. I still wear Wranglers. I still rodeo. I still train horses. She's still in a convertible Mercedes. Oh, I'm sorry, it's a Porsche. She's still living on the beach, and we are having a fascinating life, not trying to change one another, but just exploring the differences that exist. So I am with this unethical, immoral, beautiful, loud, party-worthy young lady. And I take it as a great, great honor to be able to call her my wife. And I'd like to thank you guys for allowing me and the rest of these wonderful couples to share their beautiful stories with you tonight.